My name is Dr. Sultan. I am a GP qualified from United Kingdom, London. I have been in medical practice since 1970. I'm going to present to you a fiber medical miracle. You might think, what is this miracle? This has been used in Chinese Qinhuang Valley by the warriors there, and they were taking these prebiotics so that they could be very strong and could hunt very, very strongly. This has been the practice, whereas it has been come to our knowledge only recently. Now, what is prebiotics? Now, this prebiotics is oligosaccharides, and they are divided into three groups: fructooligosaccharides, inulin, and gum acacia or acacia, senegal, and seal. It's become very fashionable these days to give antibiotics for most of the illnesses. And especially in Paris, if you go and get a dose of antibiotics, the GP or the doctor prescribes a probiotic with it. And first of all, let me tell you what is prebiotic. I have just started telling you that it's an oligosaccharide. It's a plant extract. Whereas in the case of probiotic, it is the living or the good bacteria which is occupying our gastrointestinal tract. And I was also telling you about the fashion of prescribing probiotics when an antibiotic is given. It has been found to be quite useless or harmful to the patients because artificial probiotics do not match the genome or the DNA structure of the good bacteria which is living in our gastrointestinal tract. The recent studies and the research have unfolded many important data. To cite an example is the study of Professor Enilay from Institute of Wisman at Israel, and also some of the nutritionists from UK like Jean Porter Street and Janet Hyde, Jen Mills, etc. They have found that this is totally useless when you give probiotics in an artificial way. To add fuel to the problems, it has also been recently reported from India also that it causes giddiness, and patients who have taken have swooned and fallen. All these researches go against prescription or taking of probiotics which are artificial. However, the probiotics which is living in our gastrointestinal tract, like lactobacillus bifidorum, they are useful bacteria. When any antibiotics or any kind of immunosuppressant medication is prescribed, or for that matter, any irritable medications is prescribed, these bacteria get destroyed. And to replace it is a Herculean task. So that is why nowadays it is fashionable to prescribe probiotics artificially while antibiotics is given. And as it is genome specific, as it is DNA specific, we cannot replace this bacteria, because even after 6 months of external or artificial probiotics given to the patients, there has been no increase in the probiotics of the intestinal tract. This has been proven beyond doubt. Now, to talk about the prebiotics, I mentioned that prebiotics is oligosaccharides which are derived from carbohydrates, and they have been divided into three categories, as I said: inulin and fructooligosaccharides and gum arabica or acacia, seal, and senegal. They form a very good food for these probiotics in our intestinal tract, especially living in the colon. As you all know that these bacteria confer or immunomodulator, that is, they increase our immunity. They also stimulate the serotonin, which is otherwise called 5-hydroxytryptamine, which really balances the central nervous system. and it has also been found to be useful when the serotonin levels increase or decrease. If they decrease, you find that there are diseases or disorders like manic depression, schizophrenia, autism, dementia. And once the serotonin levels are made available to the central nervous system with the help of the good bacteria, and it also stimulates the insulin secretion and improve the sensitivity of islets of Langerhans, which secrete the insulin. This has got a remarkable control over the management or control of the glucose, especially in diabetic patients. In diabetic patients, as we all know, that it is due to the deficiency or total inability of the islets of Langerhans to control the glucose metabolism. In the case of prebiotics, when the prebiotics is given to anybody, any subject, it acts as a food for the probiotic, which are the bacteria, and when they ferment or eat these prebiotics, they give out or produce short-chain fatty acids, which are called butyric acid, acetic acid, and propionic acid, and its salts are formed in the system, which actually stimulates serotonin, insulin. In addition to that, it also inhibits the synthesis, glucose synthesis. So the glucose levels in the system are controlled or not raised beyond a required amount. And further, it also has some effect in inhibiting the synthesis of the lipid metabolism, particularly when we eat fatty food. It is split into molecules and fragments and finally converted into various lipids like low density lipids, triglycerides, and high density lipids. It is well known that low density lipids and the triglycerides cause atherosclerosis or clogging of the vessels in the system, so much so it can even clog or block the arteries of heart, which are coronary arteries, giving rise to ischemia and quite often infarct too. And so the synthesis of these lipids, when it is inhibited, we do not see that there is an increase in LDL and triglycerides. And this also reduces obesity and the waist circumferences. And it can be used as a way of reducing weight and obesity. Finally, we all know that it is mainly acting on the gastrointestinal system. And when these good bacteria, which is otherwise called probiotics, the natural probiotics in our gastrointestinal system, what they actually do is to improve the health of the gut in general. Especially it is found to have very good healing effect in ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, diarrhea, constipation, as well as the carcinomas of the colon. Recently, we have found that the patients who are suffering from liver cancer also, they feel better, they become better, and they are very comfortable when prebiotics are administered or when the prebiotics are taken in empty stomach without mixing it with or without adding with any other medication. It is also found to improve the health of the skin, and it has been found to be useful in various problems of the skin like atopy, eczema, and psoriasis. As these oligosaccharides are similar to the oligosaccharides contained in the human milk, according to UC Davis of America, we find that the oligosaccharides in the human milk is similar to the oligosaccharides contained in prebiotics, especially gamma cassia, inulin, oligofructose. However, The recent studies in America, 2013, the FDA were not able to approve Inulin, even though it is widely available in America. The Inulin has been found to have not fit for human consumption, and as such it is not recommended. Oligofructosides also causes bloating, irritability and pain when taken, and it has not been found to be as effective as gum arabica. Whereas in the case of gum arabica or Acacia senegal, which belong to the Leguminosae family, you find that its therapeutic effect is increased because the probiotics, the bacteria which is living in our gut, ferment on it, and while doing so, as I mentioned earlier, produce short-chain fatty acids like butyric acid, acetic acid, and propionic acid. And once and many times, Hippocrates, our father of medicine, has said, let food be the medicine and medicine be the food. And in this latest and product that we are bringing out, it's called Prebiotik M and Prebiotik-t, which are nothing but the original and exact extract from Leguminosae family of Acacia senegal and Acacia seal. What we are using the technology now is called zero technology. By zero technology, what we mean is that we do not allow any of its nutritious content or original content is lost. Just as we convert the cane juice into the sugar, we take the sap directly. As once the sap comes out of the tree, it becomes solidified or very hard. Sometimes it can even become like a rock. So we do not allow it to come in contact with the oxygen or the environment. As such, it is taken in the form of a pulp and transported to Dubai from Sultan, and there we convert it into a granule or fine powder form, retaining the carbohydrate, the soluble fibers, the vitamins A and C, iron, calcium, magnesium, and amino acids. As you all know, it also contains various amino acids, and amino acids has been in the news. Dr. Prendergast, who is a Nobel laureate, has recommended that L-arginine has been found to be the source of energy and source of health for our human body. So I would recommend that if you are having problems or if you have any disorders relating to the gastrointestinal system, especially diabetes, lipids, skin disorders like psoriasis, atopy of the skin, eczema, and also central nervous system disorders like mania, depression, schizophrenia, autism, and dementia. We have been working very hard to allow it to be available to the general public. We have succeeded, and we are able to get them imported from Sudan and Dubai. And at the moment, what is available with us is Prebiotik M, which contains only one of the gum arabica, and it is as potent as when it is combined in two forms, that is Acacia senegal, Acacia seal, which we call it as Prebiotik-t. It is very simple to take this medication. All you need to do is you take 5 grams of this fine grains, which can be seen as powder, is put into a dry glass. Water can be poured over it, or you can also pour milk or juice or any other liquids, as long as it is not a boiling water. And you find that it takes some time to mix and dissolve. So I'll leave it for about 5 minutes and keep stirring it. Even if it doesn't completely dissolve, when it becomes in a semi-liquid form, you can take it orally 2 hours before, preferably without adding any food or any kind of medication. As it is found to stimulate the serotonins and increase the serotonin, so it also gives good sleep over the night, and the people who have taken it feel energetic. They also feel that they have developed special powers and able to run around, move around and sleep better, and they get better. And in the case of Prebiotik-t, as I was explaining to you, that it contains Arabica or Acacia, Senegal and Sial. So you find that the calcium content of it and also the iron content is very high, which is actually essential for human metabolism, for maintaining a good health. Only caution that we need to exercise here is that when Prebiotik-t is given, the calcium content is very high, higher than the Prebiotik M. So in the case of stones, which some patients develop in the kidney in the form of calcium oxalate, they increase. So they can cause problems and they can give rise to abdominal pain. So you must be very careful for those people who are taking this Prebiotik-t, which contains calcium excess, than Prebiotik M. So we advise caution for only those people who are suffering from kidney stones to be careful. This is generally a recommendation by all doctors. We do not recommend that they take a lot of milk or do not take a lot of tomatoes which contain more calcium. Thank you.